Good afternoon. This is lesson 61, and it is about using letters to identify geometric solids. Geometric figures. Using letters to identify geometric figures. Not solids because they're not three-dimensional, but using letters to identify or to name geometric figures. It's going to be pretty easy once we look at the whole thing and get some practice with it in class tomorrow. There's just a few principles that you need to remember. All right, if you go ahead and put the triangle into your notes, and I want to list for you the ways that we could actually name that triangle. Now, when we're working with the triangle, we'll put the triangle shape in front. So we could say that is triangle A, B, C. You can see how I went one to the other. And I know it's a triangle shape. I could call it also triangle A, C, B, where I just go the other direction. And it's still a triangle shape. I can start at any of the vertexes or the vertices. I could start at B and call it BAC. I could call it triangle BCA. I could even start at the C and call it CBA or CAB. All of those would name this particular triangle. Notice you start at a vertex and you go to the side to the next vertex. Now it's important that they're connecting. We'll take a look at that with the triangles. Now you saw with the triangles, they all connected. It's almost even more important when you are dealing with a rectangle to make sure that you are naming it with your vertex to a side that it is connected to. For example, if this one was A, B, C, D, well, I could name that, and I wouldn't put the triangle shape in front, the rectangle shape in front of that. I do that with triangles only. I could call this A, B, C, D. Again, A, B, C, D. I could not call it A, C, D, B, because then look what I've done. A, C, D, B. That is not a rectangle shape, so I could not call it that. You can go ahead and just put a big X over it. You have to remember that when you are labeling, you must label a vertex to a side that attaches it to the next vertex. So again, there are many names. I could do BCD, I could do DCBA, BCDA. I could name them. You can keep going with them, but I just need you to realize that they have to be attaching sides. Okay, a couple more things that are just, again, not too difficult, but just help you see how things will be named, is if you have a line, you can name it by 2 points that are on the line. So if this is A and B, then I could call this, and notice what I'm doing here, line A, B. If I have a line segment, I can name it by its endpoints. A, B, then its name would be line segment A, B. Notice the difference. No arrows down here, arrows up here. That's the difference between line AB and line segment AB. Line AB would have arrows, line segment AB would not. Now if it's array, that's where it goes from an endpoint to a point. Can you guess how that's going to be labeled? Hopefully you said, oh, I know, that's A, B. That's array A, B. So again, it just makes sense if you're thinking about it, and it can be any points on your line. With the line segment, it's usually going to be your endpoints though. So again, just make sure that you have the correct line shape above the label when you go to write it. Otherwise, it would be marked wrong. So just a little thing to watch for. All right, last thing is dealing with angles. Now, angles, we have here, go ahead and draw that whole drawing. You will see that we have several angles here. One angle would be angle A. And that would look right like this. That's that angle. I could list that as angle A. Now, I can also call that same angle angle BAD or angle DAB. So if you will notice that the angle name is either on its own or it is going to be in the middle of the angle name. Now, it is fine to go ahead and put it on its own unless it's confusing as to what are you actually meaning. For example, if I said angle D, a different color here, if I said angle D, well, do I mean this angle D? Or do I mean this angle D? I don't know. So that would be a bad idea because it's not clear which angle that you're talking about. But if I said angle CDA, you would know, oh, she means this one right in here, as opposed to angle CDE. Oh, okay, well that makes sense because then obviously I mean this one right out here. So just be careful. You can call the angle by its letter of the actual vertices, or you can call it by the whole 3 if you need it to be 3. Now, by the way, do you see it's not a triangle? Notice my shaping to label an angle is not the same as saying triangle. I don't mean triangle CDA. I mean angle CDA. So it's just those little tiny things that you're going to need to watch for as we practice in class tomorrow. Making sure it's clear which angle you mean, making sure when you have triangles or angles you have the shape in front of it, making sure with the line segment or the ray, you have the correct form over top of it. That's all there's to it. That's lesson 61. I hope you have a wonderful evening.